Today I'm making meatballs without meat and pasta without carbs. I'm Chef Dan and I am almost vegan. So today I want to make a meatball, but I don't want to have the meat in it. It's not going to be vegan. It's going to be vegetarian. It's going to have some cheese in it. I have to get some flavor in there somehow. I'm going to put cheese in there and pair it with a zucchini pasta made from zucchini, no flour whatsoever. So when you bring these two things together, here's the issue. You have this meatball that's like all bread and eggs and cheese. So it's a little bit heavy, it's full of carbs. So you have to pair it with something that will equalize everything. So if you put that meatball on top of pasta, then you have carbs on top of carbs, and I don't want to do that. So what I did was I paired it with zucchini noodles, because then you have a low-fat zucchini, a low-fat tomato sauce, and a higher-fat meatball with carbs. And I'm only going to serve 2, if they're small, maybe 3 meatballs proportion. So the whole dish as a whole will be pretty healthy, won't be low fat because these meatballs are pan fried, but won't be that high in fat because it's only, the fat part is only a small portion of the whole plate. So let's get started. We start with, I need a bowl, and we start with eggs. Going to use 6 of them. I know it's a lot of eggs, but this feeds quite a few people. One hand. Look at that. I broke one. I broke a yolk. Okay. And that is 6 eggs. And we can break that up a little bit. I use a big bowl, I use a big fork. It matches, it all matches. Okay. Then we got to put in the ingredients. And first thing we have is, all right, I want to use a cup of cheese, okay? But a cup of Parmesan, you have 2 types of Parmesan cheese. One that's grated very fine, like a powder. I want a cup of that. So this is shredded. So you have, I like the shredded better. This is a shredded. So you have these strands of cheese. I think there's a better flavor to that. You bite into a little strand of cheese. I think it's better. So this is actually going to be a little more than a cup. It's going to be about a cup and a half, maybe even a little more, a cup and a half. But if you were to make this into a powder, if you were to process this into a powder, it'll be about a cup. So use your discretion. You want to do 2 cups of cheese, do 2 cups of cheese. It'll just be very cheesy. But just about 1 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. If it's shredded, a cup and a half is fine. There you go. We need some salt and pepper, of course. Freshly ground pepper. And I want to add the salt. And the salt I add in a very special way, and that's like this. I want to add some garlic to this. I want to give a little extra flavor. Traditionally, I don't know if there's garlic in the bread meatballs. And this is a very traditional Italian meatball, the bread meatball. I don't know if there's garlic in the original traditional recipe, but I like it, so I'm putting it in. I think it's good. I think it's a good flavor. Some people would flavor the oil that they fry it in with garlic. Do it that way. And then the oil kind of flavors the meatball. Okay, so you give it a rough chop. And then, here's where we add our salt. You add the salt to the chopped garlic, and it acts like sandpaper. So now if you rub the garlic over the salt, chop this a little more. If you rub the garlic over the salt, it kind of breaks down the garlic and purees it. It makes it into like a paste. But be careful, because that paste has salt in it. So I wouldn't add any more salt than just what's in that paste. And you see how this is done. I just take the knife and just smash it like that. And it smashes into a paste. This is going to be this garlic paste is going to be a little spicy, okay? Because it's, got so much surface area. You made it into a paste. It's got a ton of surface area. So I wouldn't use too much. 2 cloves is more than enough. I like garlic, so 2 cloves for me is fine. But if you like a little less garlic, use 1 clove. That's fine. If you don't want any garlic, don't put any garlic in. That's okay too. Okay? And then whenever you use garlic in a recipe, I like to use chopped parsley. 90% of the time. If there's garlic in there, there's chopped parsley in there. Parsley is like the cleanser, the palate cleanser. And it's a very good accompaniment to garlic, which dirties your palate. Parsley cleans your palate. So there you go. And that's about a 1/2 cup of parsley. And we add salt already, so I only add salt. The last thing is the breadcrumb. I like to use seasoned because I want to give this some flavor. When you just have bread in there or unseasoned breadcrumb, it's not going to be a great flavor. So you have to add some seasoning to it. Otherwise, you're going to just have a very bland meatball. So I use the seasoned. It's seasoned already. It's like a no-brainer. It's like a foolproof kind of way just to season this up. Otherwise, you can add a little Italian seasoning to it. You can add some fresh oregano and basil to it. You can add whatever you want. This way, it's in there already. Done. Now, here's the trick. Here's the problem. How much breadcrumb to add? And the answer is, I start with a cup of breadcrumb, and I'll see from there. Actually, I'm going to start with a 1/2 cup of breadcrumb. It'll probably be a cup when I'm finished, but I don't know that yet, so I just want to make sure that it's going to be okay. So I'll start with a 1/2 cup of breadcrumb. And I mix it in, and it should be the consistency, once you mix it, it should be the consistency of mashed potato. Like a smooth, creamy mashed potato. And then as the breadcrumb absorbs the liquid from the eggs, it'll get thicker and thicker. Okay, so this is nowhere near what I'm looking for. You see, this is still very loose. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another 1/2 cup of breadcrumb. So that's basically what I thought to begin with, to add a cup of breadcrumbs, and it should be fine. And we're making this into a nice kind of a thick paste that you can shape. Now, if you have fresh bread, you can break it up into pieces and you can dry it out a little bit and then add it. But breadcrumbs is just so much easier. And this is what it should look like once it's, get back in there, you. Okay, now you see I can shape this. Okay? And we let this sit just for a couple of minutes to make sure that the breadcrumb absorbs any extra moisture from the eggs. There's water in eggs. That's why it's liquid when it comes out of the shell. So you want to make sure that the breadcrumb absorbs any liquid that it has to absorb. Okay. Now, to shape these. It's not a classic meatball, so I don't like to shape it as a classic meatball. What I'm going to do is shape it on a spoon so it has like an egg type of shape. And in here we have hot oil. How much oil? It's about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch up the sides of the pan. It's a lot of oil, but don't fret, okay? Because not all the oil is going into the meatballs. That's why you have to heat it. If you don't preheat it, what's going to happen is the oil is going to seep into the meatballs. You're going to have an oily mess. So it must be preheated. These electric skillets are very good for that because it's a temperature gauge. So I put the temperature on 350. Great. That works. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these not into a classic meatball shape, but I'm going to use a spoon to make it kind of like an egg shape because they're not a classic meatball. I want to make them special. Because if you make a shape of a meatball, too many times when we're cooking healthy food, we try and make it look like and taste like the real thing. This is not going to taste like a regular meatball. It's almost going to taste like fried stuffing that you would put inside your Thanksgiving turkey. How great is that? How great is that? So this is what we're doing. Now, to do this easily, you take your oil, spray, give the spoon a little spray. Now you take your meat and you shape it on the spoon. Like that is good. Okay, just like that. But then watch, comes right off. And you can see it's frying in there. And it's good for, you know, a couple of spoons, and then you're going to have to I'd say it's good for 3 spoons, and then you're going to have to respray the spoon. Okay, all the meatballs are in, and one side is nicely brown. So we're going to start to flip them over. And you see the oil's nice. The meatballs are kind of, the edges of the meatballs are kind of bubbling a little bit. And that's kind of what you want. Okay, these are just about done. All of them are just about done. A couple need to be flipped over. That's good. And as both sides are nicely brown, we take them out. And you can see that it's not really the shape of a meatball, but they're nice. They're tender inside. Beautiful flavor. Okay, just to make sure they're cooked all the way through and very nice, I'm going to take one, probably try to take like the biggest one and cut it in half and then taste it. Make sure it's good. Make sure that it's cooked. Oh, see the cheese in there. Ooh, that cheese is nice. Okay, looks good. Looks spongy inside. Looks beautiful. That is delicious. Cheesy, flavorful. The garlic, you taste that little hint of garlic in there. It's perfect amount of garlic. Wonderful. Okay. Well, that's the meatless meatballs. Now we have to do the no carb or carbless pasta. Okay, part 2. This is the zucchini I'm going to make into spaghetti. The issue with zucchini is that it has a lot of moisture in it. So we have to be careful. That's why I don't like to boil it. I don't like to, some people, they'll blanch it, then they'll put on paper towel to get some of the liquid out. I don't like to do it. I just saute it quickly and then hit it with the sauce and you're done. So I have my plate. Okay, your plate needs to be ready. It's gonna be very quick. And I wouldn't make like enough zucchini for like 4 or 5 people. If I'm serving a lot of people, I wouldn't do that. I would do this as an appetizer, like 1 piece of meatball with some zucchini pasta. This is good for like 2 people. Even 4 people, it's okay because the zucchini cooks very quickly. So you can cook it for 2 people, put on a plate, then cook another 2, put on the plates. This size, this is why this pan is nice. For this size, you may be able to get away with cooking 4 portions in it because they're very big. If you have a big pan like this, use it because you need that surface area to get this sauteed quickly, hit it with a little sauce, and get it out. So this is what I'm gonna do. But first, I have to make the zucchini noodles. We do that by, here's the zucchini, we just cut off the ends. So it's a nice straight, give this a straight cut that fits in this zucchini noodle maker. Sometimes they call it zoodles, or zucchini noodles, or zucchini spaghetti, or whatever. It is what it is. And this takes a little bit of a learning process to learn to do this. They also have peelers with a noodle maker on one side and a peeler on the other side. You just do that, just peel it, peel it, peel it. These are nice. This is the nicest way to go. If you make a lot of zucchini noodles, they have commercial ones. That's about $150. This is about $35. They also have the hand ones that you crank it onto the zucchini and the noodles come out. You know, those are cheaper, but then you have to really, use some muscles and crank it. This is very simple. There's a tube over here, like a cutter, round like this, right in there to hold the zucchini in place. And On the other side, there's these spiky things. So every zucchini noodle maker comes with directions, follow directions, but it's just a cool thing to see. Line up as straight as you can. Zucchinis aren't perfectly straight. Not perfectly straight. They bend a little bit, so you might have to take it out and put it back in again because it gets crooked. Whatever. You deal with it. And you got to kind of put, so I got to put this on like this. You got to kind of put some pressure on it. And you see it coming out. Yeah, there it goes. Beautiful. Now you see it's not really centered, so I'm going to take this out and recenter it now that I have it going. Still not centered. There we go. And you have your zucchini noodles. And this particular model is kind of nice because it comes with different blades. You can slice it, dice it. You can make those like potato chips out of it. There's so much you can do. And the way it works, you see that everything kind of gets sliced off of the center, so the center stays in the piece like that. And then the end, you can't go further than this because it'll start hitting the blade. It won't cut it anyway. And this is garbage. And you want it with all your zucchini noodles. Like that. Very nice. This comes apart. It's pretty easy to clean. You can even put it in the dishwasher. Whatever model you get is the model you get. And you have your pan on nice and high. You're going to hit the pan with some oil. I don't want anything to stick. Going to throw your zucchini noodles right in there. You hear that sizzle? That's important because if it's not really hot, a lot of moisture is just going to come out of your noodles. And you spread it out. See, this is enough for two portions what I have here. So if I add a little more and make it for 3 portions, or if I double it and make it for 4 portions, that's okay in this size pan. If you're using a smaller pan, then you need to like make a portion, serve it, and come back and make another portion right away. It only takes about 2 minutes to make. So it's not a big deal. And just tossing them around, tossing them around. You don't want to cook them all the way because you want to have a little bit of crunch left in them. If you cook them all the way, just a soggy mess. Once they start to wilt, which will be another 30 seconds or so. There you go. Now you can take and put a little bit of sauce on them. We just have here just some excellent tomato sauce. And not too much. And that's it. Let some of that drip off. That's okay. Now, if you feel it's not flavorful enough, you want to add a little more sauce onto it, you can. I like it just this way. It's perfect. And then what we're going to do is, and you see what I'm going to do is just put on a couple of these meatballs. I don't want to put too many meatballs on there. And then a little tomato sauce around. A little bit on top of the meatball. And there you go. Now, let's get into business here. You can see there's a little bit of water that goes in there fine. If you want to put this in a bowl, probably a little better presentation, because the liquid will kind of collect on the bottom and you won't like see it. On a plate, you're going to see that liquid. Can't help it. There's so much liquid in zucchini. You could blanch them in water and then take them out and squeeze them dry, or you can put them on paper towel or blot them. There's a lot of liquid in zucchini. That's the way it is. The tomato sauce on top is nice though, because it gives you a way to kind of take your zucchini and Have it with some tomato sauce. And that's really good. The zucchini is as good as it's cooked. In other words, if you cook it right, there's a little bit of bite left to it. It's beautiful. If you overcook it, it's going to be a little mushy. That's not what you want. The zucchini tastes great. But the tomato sauce is very good. You know, stewed zucchini with tomatoes are very good. The tomato sauce actually is an excellent tomato sauce. So the combination of the two, it's like a zucchini parmesan without the cheese. It's very good. The meatball, ho, 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 ho. The bread meatball, they got a little bit of tomato sauce on there. Really nice. The inside's cooked. You see it's a little spongy. Listen, to begin with, there's nothing like fried bread. Fried bread is awesome. But it's like, you have this cheese flavor. It's not like fried mozzarella sticks. It's not that gooey cheesy. There's a nice Parmesan flavor. Salty, nutty, beautiful. And then you have the flavors of the garlic and the Italian herbs from the seasoned breadcrumbs. So it's got that Italian flavor, like the crust of a chicken Parmesan. If you just eat the breading off of it, it's got that nice Italian herb flavor. Beautiful. And the tomato sauce is very savory. The meatball is very rich with the cheese in it and the eggs, and it's pan fried, so it's really rich. That's a great, great pairing. The savory with the rich. Beautiful. Anyway, I'm Chef Dan. Don't forget, if you like the video, hit like, and please subscribe to my channel. I'll see you at the next video. I'm Chef Dan, and I am almost vegan. I'm going to finish this right now. Yeah. I'm going to eat 5 of these meatballs this morning. That is delicious. Oh my God. Look, I'm trying just like spaghetti. Look at that.